Hey guys, welcome to Market Mondays. Going to give you guys a quick update on everything that happened last week and what's to expect this week. Before I get right into them, do a quick dad joke. Dad joke today is, what do you call two worms in love? Two worms in love. Soil mates. Soil mates. Get it? Pew pew. All right, getting in right into it. Last week we saw a lot less volatility with mortgage rates. Actually, they were coming down from the volatility from the week before. If you guys remember, that week was all about the whole volatility of the tariffs, how it's going to go back and forth. I encourage you guys to look up this. I think it was a Yahoo Finance article about everything that was happening with the tariff battle between the U.S. and China, and it just looks really, I'll be honest, it looks really childish. It looked like the U.S. put a tariff, and then the China put a tariff, and then the U.S. put another tariff, and China put another tariff, and then they adjusted the tariff, and so did China. It's all this back and forth. Really annoying. I'll be honest. It's really just silly and really annoying. Seeing that chart go back and forth, I'm like, can't you guys just like sit down, have a discussion about what either of you guys want? That way we can just move forward and not have to deal with this volatility in the markets that we're seeing. Part of me gets it as to why, the US did it in the first place. It's a negotiating tool, is to get them to move in a certain direction, whatever. All politics. That's what it boils down to. All politics. Now, the question is, now that these tariffs are getting more solidified and start going into place, when will we start seeing the impacts of these tariffs? So if we consider all the shipping and all the unloading and all the time it gets onto the shelves and people start buying and so on and so forth, the expectation is about 60 days. And I think that puts us right around Mother's Day. So with that in mind, something to consider is that these tariffs, even though they're placed into effect now, we may not actually see the prices and be impacted until 60 days from now. So I think that's why a lot of people, I see a lot of some of the retail stores I subscribe to, they're putting out all these ads about, oh, it's, try and get stuff off the shelf at 50% off for the new tariff sale is what they're doing. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to buy the stuff that you need now, so that it's not impacted by the tariffs. I'm very interested to see how these tariffs are going to impact our spending. Very interested to see how that's going to work. The other interesting thing that needs to come, that we need to talk about, is how it's going to impact the labor forces involved with the shipping of those items. Because if things start to cost more, they may have to lay off some people because it's costing more to have these people on, because all the impacts of these tariffs. So there's a huge down the line effect. Not only does it impact you as a consumer, but it's going to impact a lot of people in the terms of a business, because now the tariffs are in effect, and it's going to cost more to run the business, and they may have to lay off some people. We don't know how it actually all is going to work out. Maybe these companies will just keep them on and just make less profit, but we don't know how it's all going to play out. So that's what's interesting about this whole tariff stuff. But if you really think about it, things costing more, potential more layoffs, all this points to even more weakness in our economy, which gives us an idea of what's going on this week. Now, this week is a really important week, more so than other weeks, because we have a lot more reports coming in all in the same week. One, this is jobs week. This tells us how the labor market is doing. Last labor market report showed the unemployment rate going up. So with more and more layoffs that have been in effect, and now that more people may be filed for unemployment, there's a very strong chance that we might see the labor market weakening. So that's one aspect of it. And usually these are separate weeks, but now included in this week is another inflation report, the last inflation report of April. And this is the one that the Fed is keeping an eye on for the most part in regards to how they're going to impact the Fed rate. So with that coming out this week with the jobs report, it's going to be a very, very volatile week for the most part when it comes to mortgage rates. I'm expecting a lot of positivity, good news out of all these reports. I'm expecting the labor market to weaken, and I'm expecting this specific inflation report to show that the numbers are getting better. The main reason is just because the inflation reports of earlier this month that came out were a lot better too. So, and some of the data is used in this same report. So I'm hoping that a lot of all these things kind of come together and mortgage rates start to kind of dive down a little bit. Now, if we're looking at the week to week progress of how mortgage rates have looked, you can see that we're kind of coming off the highs of what it used to be back 2 weeks ago here we saw the highs of, the tariff volatility, and now we're about 2 weeks since then, and now things are kind of leveled off a little bit better, and heading back toward where we saw back in beginning of April. So if we start seeing those numbers again, I mean, we'll start talking about refinances again. We'll start talking about how mortgage rates are getting a little bit better. But overall, I mean, we're still coming down even from the highs of the mid-January numbers. So things are still looking better. Even the lows are getting lower and the highs are also getting lower as well. So a lot of stuff happening this week, a lot of volatility this week. I'm playing the game a little bit just to see how rates do in the next couple of days. They're already looking better today. So as we continue this progress, I hope that we start to see favorable news from the labor market and from the inflation report that's coming out this week. So we'll give you guys an update next week on how things go. But if all goes well and things are coming off the highs of the volatility tariffs, volatility on the tariffs, things could start looking better. We might start seeing the numbers we saw back in September. If I scroll back out again from where September was, I mean, this is where we were at back in September. So if we can see those numbers again and then continue a little bit lower, maybe even stay in this range, I'd be pretty happy with the numbers and how they play out. Otherwise, that is all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys have a great week. Nuke out.